Welcome everyone to June 2023's session of Spiritual Questions Answered with CordyKet. My name is Kat. I'm the co-founder of CordyKet. To know more about us, you can please go to our website at cordyket.com or Facebook and find out about the things that we do with relevance to our Spiritual Questions Answered. We actually, we means Cordelia and myself. Together we are known as CordyKet, not Cordy and Cat. And we have been doing spiritual work, right, since 2010. So we do help people with spiritual disturbances, with evil spirits, with black magic, those kind of thing. Essentially, we're energy healers. We do energy healing. We have our own energy healing modality, like immunity healing. So just a very brief introduction about us. And we're going to get right down to topic. Okay, so I'm going to speak about a topic, and if you guys have any questions, you can feel free to type in and I'll address your questions after I share it with you all, and hopefully my sharing will answer some of your questions, right? And if I don't, you can feel free to ask me more questions later. So basically the topic for today or the month is how to tell if a spirit is good, bad, or harmless. So the first thing is, I think many people are kind of interested in this, but I think let's frame this. Frame this question in a way that everybody can process. So firstly, there will be different types of situations that we get into whereby we ask ourselves this question, is it not? So what kind of situations can you think of? And if I miss them out, please remind me. All right. So usually people they encounter okay, maybe I should write encounter. Okay. So basically you can encounter them in your dreams. Yes. Quite a number of people kind of like encounter spirits in their dreams, maybe of the disease, of their loved ones, or even pets, right? So one of the ways to encounter is like dreams. The other one, a very common one, is through instruments of contact, right? Instruments. Now, what kind of instruments am I referring to? Like puja board, or how I pronounce it, or people play something like puja, spirit of the coin, right? A coin or some kind of equipment that is meant to communicate with the spirit world. All right. So and you encounter a spirit. Then some people, they will have some psychic or telepathic connection. Psychic or telepathic. Connection, or some will say energy connection. Doesn't matter. We're not going to, talk about these types, but whether you understand psychic, telepathic, or energetic connection. Some people will get encounters through meditation. Some people get encounters through drugs or psychotropic stuff. Psychotropic substances, magic mushroom, what have you, ayahuasca, those kind of thing. I put down there as herbs. Herbs is is very mild term of putting it. So I think these are most of the situations of encounter, and of course, I mean, there are things like hauntings, right? I think if you have a serious haunting whereby, haunting implies that it wasn't a pleasant experience, you don't need to ask this question, right? I think we kind of get that, right? If you have a haunting, right, and it's kind of scary, then you kind of know that the evil spirit will not be under good or harmless. Or, oh, sorry, I wrote bad here. I think in the title I wrote evil, right? Bad or evil. Evil may seem a bit strong. I mean, even if you put bad, all right. So you know what I mean. So good, bad, or good, evil, and harmless. We will separate them into three types. So if you can think of any other situations, please feel free to type it in the chat box, or if you want, you can switch on the audio. Now, so different situations, you tend to encounter different kind of things, and it changes the scenario a little bit, and we may run through that later on. Okay, I think what's going to be useful is straight away we dive down to kind of understand what is a good spirit, what is like a bad or evil spirit, and what's like a harmless spirit. All right, and if you guys are new to me, right, my name is Kat of CordyKet, and I have Cordelia and I, we've been helping people deal with black magic and evil spirits. Cordelia even have a memoir out. It's called Possessed: From Darkness to Light. Right, it's available on Amazon, or if you're in Malaysia, you can contact us to get a copy. And personally, I've dealt with thousands. Thousands is an understatement. I've dealt with a very, very huge number of spirits and entities. If I were to tell you, you probably won't believe me. But okay, it's a very huge number, and I can tell you that I'm pretty qualified to share with you about what is going on. Okay, so the first thing is, how do we qualify a good spirit? And Evan is asking a very basic question. How do we define a spirit? All right, yeah. So and Evan is defining spirit as an unseen entity. So so I won't say unseen, because some people can see them, and some people can see them like real, like they are a person on the street, and they can even mix them up. For example, I know people who can see spirits, and the only way they can tell whether they are spirits or people is they have to look out for the shadows. Spirits will not have shadows. That kind of thing is that real. It's like if a spirit and a person is standing next to each other, the only way this guy can see, some of these very, I call them super clairvoyants, right? They cannot differentiate a spirit from a human, and they have to look for the shadow. If one person has shadow, the other person has, one person have a shadow, the other person don't have a shadow. You know, the one who don't have a shadow, there's something wrong, right? Okay, that kind of thing. So, is it really unseen? No, but I think we kind of understand spirit is something that's is meant to be insubstantial. Is supposed to be invisible, whereby most people don't see them, right? So, I think everyone can kind of have an idea, right, what the spirit is. So I don't think we need to spend much time to define that. You can call it, but if you were to ask me, right, a spirit is something that is of, it's not of physical form, all right? It is an energy consciousness. All right, this is the way I would define, okay, a spirit, or you call entities, I would call it, E is for energy, all right? I'm always dealing with energy, so every time I write E, it means energy. So energy consciousness, safe space. Now we're going to cover what is good, bad, and harmless. So I think we'll start off with good. How to tell whether a spirit is good, and what are good spirits. So first thing, I would help you all understand what is a good spirit. So we encounter all kinds of spirits in our work, and the thing is, the it's very difficult for normal people to tell whether a spirit is just good or bad just by when you are not like a professional and have a lot of experience. Now, even though if you can see a spirit, the spirits can change their form. They can appear in a manner that seems pleasing to eye and everything, and is, those of you who are Asians or Chinese, if you heard of the story, the Monkey King story, Journey to the West, right? In the story, it was we tell like the demons could pretend to be Guan Yin, a divine, right? the demons were pretending to be a good spirit and appear of light and everything, and the Monkey King, right, who's like a deity level, was tricked, right, into believing, that the Guan Yin was, he thought, whoever he thought was Guan Yin, which is supposed to be divine, turns out to be a demon later. So there are all sorts of deception that's going on in the invisible energy and spirit world. But before we talk about all those, let's have a clear understanding what is a good spirit. So for Cordelia and I, after dealing with so many kinds of invisible entities and spirits, we are very clear on what is good and definitely good. And there's a very clear definition for this good spirit. All right. So these good spirits, I think I shall use good spirits. I shall use blue color. All right, good spirits. I shall use blue color. Good spirits, they are of light. Usually, you see them of light, but they're not just of light. They come from a place which we call heaven. All right, they are from heaven. So if you need a little bit more explanation about what heaven is, you can go to our YouTube channel. All right, just search youtube.com at CordyKet under spiritual questions answered, the playlist. I even have an entire talk, 1 hour plus, on what is heaven. All right, basically heaven is where all the good spirits are. All right, to keep it. So if they come from heaven, they are actually all good. All right, and if you want to be more specific, right? If they come from heaven, what makes them good? All right, so their energies, they are generally of light, so they appear as light. Okay, and they come from what we call the source of light. SOL, source of light. All right, so source of light is the source of light, source of the light. So these good spirits are actually essentially light beings. And if you heard the term, right, they are light beings, they are of light. So they all come from the source of light, okay? And they come from heaven. So the source of light is the one who created, or is the source of all these lights. Now, all of them who are good, they are bound by values or virtues. All right, so virtues would be very accurate, or values that are good values. Now, what do I mean by this? So I think people will be very familiar, right? Like love, compassion, kindness, right? So you can have love, they are kind, they're compassionate, and something is going to be very defining for them when you compare them to others is they respect free will. All the good spirits, right, they respect free will. That means if you insist and you want to do something, no matter whatever it is, whether it's bad for you or bad for other people, even if it's about killing people, right? If they cannot dissuade you, if they cannot persuade you to do otherwise, they will accept what your choice or what your decision is. Even if you are going to decide to kill millions of people, they can accept it. Yes. Right? You may find it hard to believe, but yes, this is what the good guys, the good spirits are about. They will recognize the free will, and they are loving, they are kind, and they're very patient, and they will try to dissuade you and everything, but they respect free will ultimately. So you can do anything, right? You can show them the middle finger, you can curse them and everything, and they'll be cool. They'll be really cool, and they're really patient, right? So these are the good spirits. So when you encounter something that is of this, right, the only thing is I will say that you have to be very careful. So generally people know that the good spirits, they are of light, But light is something you need to be very careful, because evil spirits can, because they are all of energy, they can change their form to appear as if they are of light. So using light, the vision of light, or that, or using appearances is never a reliable way of telling whether a spirit is good, evil, or harmless. All right, it's never a good way to tell. So the first thing, the first rule is, right. I always tell this: do not trust vision, or shall I say, um, do not rely on appearances. This is the first lesson everyone needs to learn. Do not rely on appearances. This is the most unreliable way of deciding whether a spirit is good, bad, or harmless. Never ever rely on appearances. And in my experience, the people who are often tricked are those who rely on appearance, including the people who can see spirits. All right, it's the most unreliable way. Okay, and now we want to take a look at what are harmless spirits. Harmless spirits are actually, that means they are not good. All right, when I say refer to harmless, that means they are not the good spirits, and they are not evil, and they're kind of like neutral. They don't really harm people, and there is a very clear definition for them. If you have enough experience working with dealing with evil spirits or in the spiritual realm, it's very clear who are the harmless spirits um, that are not good. All right, belong to this category, and they are not evil. So for the harmless one, I will use green color. I'm trying to color code it. All right, harmless ones, I will use green color. Now, harmless ones, there are generally two types. All right, so the first type will be those, right, they're almost good, but they are self-serving. In general, they are quite harmless, right? Quite, all right? So they are almost good and self-serving. Now the thing is, usually the bad ones they are self-serving and outright selfish. All right, and yeah, they are self-serving, but they are self-serving to the point of selfishness and self-serving at others' expense. I think it's very clear, right? They are selfish, they're self-serving at others' expense. But when you deal with harmless one, they are almost good, and they are self-serving, and they try to be good. But if there's something whereby it's good enough for them, they may try to do a win-win. But if it is a little bit at your expense, they may not see in your interest. All right, they may not see things in your interest. So the difference is, for the good guys, they see right in the interest of um, greater harmony. Okay, why does Cat say greater harmony? Why doesn't he just write harmony? So when I say greater harmony, I'm referring to harmony of beyond self, right? Because a lot of people, when you're thinking about harmony, I'm thinking about my own harmony, but my own harmony can be at the expense of other people. You all get what I mean? So a lot of people is like, you know, I want harmony, I want a peace of mind, but I don't mind getting harmony at your expense. Like, I do like the bad people is for bad human, they'll kill you so that you're making a lot of noise, they just draw a gun and kill you, bang. But yeah, they want harmony, but they don't care at the expense of other people. But for those that are good, they are interested in greater harmony. That means of a big picture of more than one person of the world, of the universe is possible. They see the big picture and they want harmony in a very grand scale. All right, so the harmless ones, usually they're almost good, but they're self-serving, and they can be look like almost light, but they tend to be this self-serving part. So they're not quite all the way good, but in general they are harmless. And there's a second group. The second group are very weak, lost souls. Maybe I should write here. They are the very weak ghosts, okay, or we call them lost souls. So I'm just going to give a short definition about this. If you want to know more about ghosts, I did a video, quite a long recording. It turned out to be 1.5 hours, where people ask all sorts of things about ghosts. Again, you can find it on our YouTube channel. Okay. So a little bit of explanation about ghosts and why we call them lost souls. Now, we call them lost souls because there's a reason how ghosts come about. And basically, they are people who die. They are souls who die, people who die, and the soul does not return. The souls do not return to heaven. By right, all souls are supposed to return to heaven. All right, but if you die and you don't return to heaven, you get stranded, you are lost from light, you become a lost soul, you become a ghost. Okay, greater explanation will be in our in the YouTube title on ghosts. Please go look it up now. And I don't just mean all ghosts are harmless. I'm being very particular. They are the weak ghosts that are usually harmless. What do I mean by weak ghosts? Now, weak ghosts, in the first place, they can't make contact. They are so weak, they cannot even make contact with you. Not by any of these means. They cannot even enter your dreams. They cannot even move a coin or Ouija board. They're that weak. All right? They cannot do a psychic or telepathic or energy connection with you. Even if you meditate and they are there, you probably cannot find them unless you are trained. Like if you join us, if you're interested to do all this, you can come to me and see whether you would like to do training. Every year we have an intake for immunity. Immunity, eventually you learn to become a healer and you learn to do the kind of work that we do if you are interested, right? So unless you're trained like us, you will never detect them. And what do these weak ghosts? How do we know about them? And if they cannot make contact, how do we know? Actually, so most people you can't make contact. For us, we can. We know how to find them, and there are many of them around. They sometimes can be caught on camera as orbs. Not all orbs are weak ghosts. Some are more powerful ones, but usually they are so small. They're so small and so weak, and if there's a little bit of energy, they can appear as some orbs. Now, some orbs are of light, some are not. So But they can be some of these very small, weak orbs that can be caught on camera, right? I'm not saying all orbs are weak ghosts. Please be very clear about this. But some of these weak ghosts, they can be caught on camera, and you normally see them. You normally don't find them in normal situation, but you can see them in certain religious ceremonies. For example, like Buddhist ceremony, whereby they during the Qingming, during the 7th month, some temples will do Buddhist prayers to try and liberate the lost souls, to try and get them to reincarnate. They will do certain prayers by, for example, linking to Kisiti-Gaba Buddha, Dizang Wang, all right, in Chinese. Or for the Christians, sometimes they will pray during All Souls Day. And all these big goals, they know is the chance to return to heaven, right? Especially if they die a Christian or die a Buddhist, and they know what are these ceremonies for. They will go to the temple, or they go to the church, or whichever religion, if they have similar ceremonies being produced. And when you take a picture, if you go around snapping, especially if it's at night, suddenly you will have like lots of orbs, and it's like you don't know what, you can see the night with your eyes, but when you take a picture, you have plenty of orbs everywhere. And usually most of these are the weak ghosts, and you normally don't find them because they are so weak. They will hide in everything. They will hide in a stone, a pebble, in the trees, and even at home, people's home. But they're actually very harmless because they're so weak. They cannot harm people, and they cannot even make contact. All right, these are the weak ghosts. Now, then we'll define the bad or evil spirits. So the first thing is they are selfish, they're self-serving at others' expense. And in what way are they selfish at other people's expense? Now, the first thing is all these spirits, they are energy consciousness. All right? All these spirits, they are energy consciousness. Right? All these spirits, they are energy consciousness. And in the energy and spirits world, the currency is energy. They want other people's energy. They want energy of others. At other people's expense, they want to take energy from people like us or whatever, so that they can become more powerful. They are interested in that. And you got all kinds. You got those that are obviously very evil, and they outright will do things to scare you, to harm you. For example, from normal ghosts that are not weak, all right, they're not the weak ghosts, right? Ghosts that have a certain level, and poltergeists, demons, right? They are obviously, there are those that are obviously evil. And there are those who are the clever, sinister beings. Very clever, very wild, right? You know the word wild. And they are sinister. That means these guys, they will pretend to be good, they're willing to they're very patient, and they're willing to play the long game. You know what I mean by play the long game, right? They can wait, or they don't mind. They're so clever. It's like I hate to say this, but they're kind of like some politicians. All right, I'm saying some politicians. So they're kind of like some politicians who, on the outside, they pretend to be good, but actually they're screwing you over. They are, they're using the political position for money and power, right? Because at the end of the day, these bad guys, they're self-serving, right? And they are selfish, and they are self-serving at other people's expense. right? That's what they do. But they can play to pretend to be good. They can play the long game. For example, they may be nice to you. They may be nice to you so that you will bring more people to them, and then they can take energy from your friends, but they won't take from you, right? So they will be nice to you. But let's say you are a very influential person. Let's say you're a YouTube influencer, all right? You're a YouTube influencer and you have millions of followers. They'll be very nice to you. They won't take your energy and they can give you power and everything. But then the people who you bring to them, they're going to drain the energy and don't necessarily haunt. You see, what they really want is they want energy. Okay, what they really want is they want energy. And if you're the first person who make contact with these spirits, these evil ones, it's very hard for you to know whether they are really good, evil, or harmless, because they can pretend to be good. But how can you tell? All right, so we're going to try and answer some of these questions. So I want to deal with some of the situations that are very common and look accordingly. So if you guys have a different situation, please feel free to ask. Let me just run through some of your questions to see whether I need to address them immediately. A Zoom user asked, can I briefly explain how to practice detachment? You will need to attend a different session. I teach a non-attachment meditation whereby I explain about non-attachment and detachment. All right. It's going to be held on a Sunday, and okay, I'll just give you a quick one. You can see the schedule. All right, if you're in the groups, you should be able to see the schedule, but non-attachment meditation is on Sunday, 25th June, all right, 9 p.m. Malaysian time, okay? And Self-Fang did mention we practice non-attachment. So Evan said, is every spirit in heaven good? There can be little good in bad and little bad in good, all right? So to answer Evan's question, yes, every spirit that comes from heaven, right, that comes from heaven, that is from the source of light or who works from source of light, must be good. They are bound by virtues, values, and you can say they are bound by ethics. Ethics don't quite cut it. They are bound by values. Okay. Some of these harmless, almost good, self-serving spirits, they were actually formerly from heaven, but they don't like to be bound that I must always be good, I must always be kind, and I must always be patient, and I must respect the free will of these human beings, because some of these human beings are real dumb and real stupid, right? I can't stand them, and I don't want to help them anymore, and I want to just take care of my own self. And then they leave because they were from heaven. They understand it's important to be good and not harm people. They will leave, but they're a little bit more self-serving, all right, and they're not bound by all this. But if the good spirits, they are from heaven, from source of light, they are bound by all this, and so they cannot harm. And I reassure you, okay, we have had many dealings, okay, so we work to help people with evil spirits, and also we need the backing of the good guys, and we know the good guys very well. They are like that, and if they break any of this, the source of light, all right, will kick them out of heaven, or we'll ask them. Actually, we'll ask them nicely. You need to get your act together. If not, you cannot continue to stay in heaven because you're harming other people. You're not about greater harmony. They're going to leave. Then if they leave, they may try to still be good, but they are considered generally harmless because they are self-serving and they're almost good but not quite. Okay, that's to answer Edwin's question. Edwin's asking why weak ghosts did weaken it and everything. Okay, so I'll answer those questions. Okay, I can answer that. So why weak ghosts? Now, weak ghosts normally come from people whose spirit and whose soul were weak when they died. At the point of death or after they died, it became weaker and weaker. Now, Usually it's because of all these evil spirits. Evil spirits are always taking energy from people and from other spirits. So if the person is alive and their soul energy, is taken by the evil spirits, when they die, they can only become a weak ghost. They cannot become anything else. Unless the weak ghosts, they learn to be evil and they take energy from others, then they will stay as weak ghosts. Right? So it's either the weak ghosts were because when they were alive, their energy were already taken, so that when they die, their soul is already very weak and they become a weak ghost. Or weak ghosts were normally when they die, they were a normal ghost, but their energy were taken by stronger, more powerful evil spirit. All right, I hope that answers your question. That was a pretty good question. Evan is asking, all spirits have different temperature? No, it's nothing to do with temperature. It's more about do with energy and frequency. Alternative of camera is to open third eye to see the ghost. Even if you open the third eye, you do not necessarily see the ghost. It depends on your own, on the clairvoyant, the one with the third eye, what is their frequency, what the third eye can, which frequency, which dimension they can see. All right. And Evan asking, the evil spirit only interested to absorb negative energy only? No. Evil spirits, in general, evil spirits, they want negative energy because they are of negative energy. Usually the clever ones, the sinister ones, they are so powerful that even if the energy is not negative, they can still take it. And that's why they are not obviously evil, but they are actually the most evil and they're the most clever and they will pretend to be good and they're like the politicians, the bad politicians who's siphoning all the money in the government, right? Siphoning all the most of the money, a lot of money in the government into their own pockets, that kind of thing, while pretending, giving speeches about serving the people, the country, and so on, that kind of thing. Okay. And the evils, Sharifa asking, is this class being recorded? Yes. When those who just join in, you are asked, you are reminded that it's being recorded, and if you attend, it means that you agree that this is being recorded. But don't worry, the setting is only recording me. All right, it only records the video of me based on the current settings. So if you speak, it will not record your video, but your voice will be recorded. And do I provide? So all these videos will be uploaded in our YouTube 1 month later, okay? So Evan is asking, if one has no or extremely little negative energies by observing, scoring very low in terms of pride, greed, anger, lust, delusion, jealousy, negativity, selfishness, hatred, ego, can we say the evil spirit will not be interested in him or her? No. Evil spirit, they all want energy. All right. If someone is powerful, something is more powerful enough, and even if you're a nice guy, do you think a bad person give a damn about whether you're a good person? No, they don't. If they can rob you, they will still rob you. All right. But there are things in place in the spiritual world whereby if you're supposed to be a good person, your good energy is supposed to protect you. The problem in society is most people are not truly good. They just think that they are good, but they still have anger, they still have ego, they still believe in vengeance, and they still hate people, they still don't forgive people. So not many people meet this criteria. There are very few people who meet the criteria whereby they are so good and pure a person that the evil spirits can't touch them. There are not many people, but are there? There are. All right, so let me come to these situations and help you tell, right, if in a certain situation, how can you tell if a spirit is good, evil, or harmless, other than talking about the attributes, all right? So for example, a lot of people, they will encounter them in dreams or whatever, this thing, and usually people are very concerned with this. This situation is the most, one very common one, is they are trying to look for their deceased. Look for the deceased, those people who are dead, like their family members or even their pets, right? Either they dream of them or they try to use an instrument, like they want to contact the contact the spirit of the person who passed away, right? Now the question is, how do you know it's really the spirit? You're going to ask questions and everything. And now, there is this thing. So the question is going to be, when you make contact with the deceased, you need to know. So if the deceased is a weak ghost, you cannot even make contact. So it's not harmless. You get what I mean? If the person who died is a weak ghost, you cannot make contact. They can't make contact with you, and in general, you can't make contact with them unless you are very trained. So, in such a case, when you're trying to contact the deceased, you only have two scenarios. You will either be contacting, right, a good one or bad or evil one. Now, here is where it is a little bit touchy. All right. Now, some of the disease, they come under here. All right, not because they are evil. All right, not because they are evil. Because they are not good, they are actually bad. Okay, this is very touchy. Now, they don't mean to harm you. All right, they don't mean to harm you. Now, if they are deceased and they are ghosts, all right, let me be, maybe I better be very clear here. They are deceased ghosts. They are bad. They may not be, they are not evil because they don't want to be evil to you, right? Because you are the loved ones, but they are bad for you. Now, again, if you go back to the video on ghosts, you'll understand. Now, if they're really deceased and they've gone back to light, right? You can make contact the deceased and they are of light. So you can have a light spirit, or you can have a ghost. But it cannot be a weak ghost. If they are ghosts, that means they are reasonably, the energy is reasonably strong. And if they are ghosts, typically their energy is negative. Because their energy is negative, if you continue to make contact with them, it is bad for you. You will start to have bad luck. You will start to have bad health. It's not to say that the deceased ghost is wanting to harm you. It's their energy is bad for you. So for the Chinese saying, it's just very simple, right? The human guys or the good people, the energy, we call it yang energy. And the negative energies, they call it yin energy, right? Yin energy. So you have this thing yin yang, right? And yin is opposite of yang, right? So if you stick around with a lot of this yin energy, even if they like you, if they're kind to you, but the energy is bad for you, your yang energy will decrease and decrease and it will affect you, so it's bad for you. Now, how can you tell when you really make contact with disease? How do you tell whether is it a light spirit or a ghost? Very simple. All right. So you can have the disease whereby they have died and they go back to light. They go back to light, and somehow you manage to make contact with them. Usually, this only happens not long after death, like maybe within the first 100 days. It depends on culture, all right? Depends on culture, whereby the deceased, they return to light and there's a period of time whereby they're allowed to make contact with their family and loved ones, and they come back as a light spirit. Now, in such a situation, when you make contact with them, usually you see light. So even though you cannot trust appearances, yes, you will see light. And normally, they are always just trying to reassure you that they are all right, things are all good, all right, and ask you to, they tell you that they love you and they will not want you to keep thinking about that because they have moved on. They have moved on, they are in a good place. Okay? So this is, if the disease has returned to light and come back within the allowed time, usually within 100 days or whichever according to the culture, okay? Now, if it's a ghost, now, on the other hand, this like kind of tell, you can kind of tell whether the spirit, your deceased family, loved ones, are they a ghost or spirit who have gone back to light and is happy. Now, ghost is very simple. When they come to you and you recognize it's your deceased family or loved one, they're usually not happy. They're usually like they're worried. They're worried about you, but they're worried about you. They're concerned about you. They need to get things sorted out, or they're still very unhappy about certain things. They ask you to settle this, to settle that. That is the first sign that you're talking to a ghost. If it's a light spirit, they no longer worry about anything. They will have left behind. And yes, they're dead and they leave behind people who need to take care, but they have really let go and they learn that they need to move on because they're no longer alive. There's nothing they can do and they will move on. Because if they still are very attached to their physical life, they cannot become a spirit of light. They will stay on as a ghost. All right, so this is one way, and this will, a lot of people who are trying to make contact or they've made contact with the spirits, this is what they encounter, right? Usually under this thing, the disease category. Now the others are typically, you're still using these scenarios. Maybe you're very curious, you go and play with the Ouija board, or you meditate, or you're a psychic, and somehow you have a psychic, telepathic, or energy connection with a spirit, or you take drugs, you take ayahuasca, you take LSD, you take magic mushroom, that kind of thing, and then you have those experiences. Usually, I'm talking about those. Obviously, if it's terrible experience, it's an evil spirit. Now, I'm here to help you differentiate those that belong to this category, right? If they're really evil, I don't need to explain to you. I mean, I can describe all kinds of things, but it's pointless. If they're really bad and they show and they reveal themselves to be bad, typically demons, they will even reveal themselves to be bad. Not many demons, they have the patience and the wow and the cleverness to pretend to be good for long periods of time. But the most dangerous guys are these ones. All right, who will play the long game. So how can you tell? So firstly, do not trust appearances. And can you try and understand what the good guys do? The good guys are of virtues, of kind and everything, and they are of greater harmony. But then again, there are some of these very clever evil spirits that they'll come to you and say, oh, we are loving, and talk to you about love, and we need to make Earth a better place. We come from the Galactic Council. We are here to bring advancement to Earth. We are here to teach Earth to transition to the new dimension, to the new age. They will say all kinds of these things, and they kind of pretend to be good. All right, but how can you tell? Firstly, do not rely on appearances. Instead, right, you got to be patient and you got to observe what they do. Now, a lot of these guys, when they're like this, they like to do this. They typically may play up your ego. What do I mean by that? They'll come to you. They'll say, hey, we're the good guys. We come from the Galactic Council. We come from the Council of Light in the great central sun and galaxy, whatever kind of things. And they'll come to you and they say, you are very special, right? Because you managed to meditate, or you managed to have a psychic connection with us. You managed to contact us, and you are one in a million. Guess what? We're going to train you. All right? You are the savior of the world. You are meant, you are the, or they'll say, some people say this Kali Yuga is the end times. You are Christ reborn. And they tell you, you are an angel reincarnated. They'll play up your ego. And they'll tell you that you are special. This is one of the signs. You got to be wary. All right, they'll play you up your ego. And I can almost tell you for sure these guys will never ever do that. Because what's the point? If they play up your ego, they tell you you're special, you get all big-headed, isn't it? And you think you're damn good, you're proud. Hey, I'm special because I can meditate and make contact. No, these guys are not interested in that. They want you to be a really good person and they're not going to play up your ego and make your head swell. They don't. Now, the other thing that you can rely on is this. You can rely on your heart to tell you. You can't rely on appearances, but you can rely on your heart. Now, this is provided you are a nice person, you're a good person, all right? But, you know, nice person, good person is subjective. But, for example, if you are a person who is an empath, right, you can rely on your heart. Do you all know what empath means? Empath, it kind of means like a heart sensitive. If you are empath, can you please rely on your heart? What does your heart tell you? How does your heart feel? Does your heart feel, you know, if your eyes, your third eye can see light, but your heart doesn't feel comfortable, run. The heart is more reliable than appearances. Can we get that? The heart is more reliable than appearances if you are an empath, if you can sense people's emotions. Because emotions is harder. Sometimes you can even sense that these things, they have a sinister intention behind their sweet words or behind the words whereby they claim that they are loving, that they bring good news, they try to bring healing, they try to bring light, or they say they're bringing light, but your heart don't feel good. Because as an empath, you can feel their intentions, you can feel their emotions, and you know that they are no good. This is the more reliable method, okay? And usually all these guys, they will play up your ego. They will talk about power. They will talk about money, and maybe, you know, they'll talk about love. Love as in lovers, sex, that kind of thing. And they put it in a way that, you know, that's a little bit innocent at first because they gradually seep it in, you know. I have your interest, I would like to make you famous, I will make you rich, and you will have lots of lovers, or people will look up to you. If they are pandering to your low self-esteem, they're playing, all these are trying to play up your ego. This is where the danger sign is. Run the other way. Cut connection. All right. So, in general, these are the bad guys. Usually, the good guys, they are just interested in guiding you to be a good person, to be of good values, to be kind, to be of greater harmony. That means serve the greater good, serve society, make the earth a better place, and not self-serving. Not self-serving. They are not self-serving, okay? It's nothing, all this about self-serving. The moment you have this self-serving thing whereby enrich yourself and everything, you know, that is a, all right, you must have a, that is a alarm sign, okay? These are not, the good guys are about greater harmony, about bringing peace to the world, making the world a better place, making you a better person, asking you to forgive people, asking you to be kind, asking you to be loving, asking you to be patient. It's all about that. If anything else, you know you're not good. Okay? So let me see, there's more chats, more questions. Evan asked, if one has no or extremely little negative energies, okay, I'll answer that. Stanley, hi Kat, the Tibetan Buddhist Rafu deities were said to be manifestation of Bodhisattva. So are they good guys or bad guys since they have to destroy evil? Will the good guys destroy evil since they are bound to compassion? Oh, that's a very good question. Some of Tibetan Dharma protectors were used to be evil but tamed by powerful lamas. Which categories do they belong to? Wow, Stanley, you're the man, man. Yes. Now, um, now, it's a sensitive question. In general, the Dharma protectors, like what Stanley is saying, all right, they are Rafu deities, right? They're supposed to be Dharma protectors. They're supposed to be protectors because they have a little bit of darkness, because sometimes the demons, the evil spirits will will do anything to destroy harmony in the world and to kill people and so on. And there's no choice but for the good guys to have some of these good spirits. They have to be the so-called the bad guys who destroy them. So that's why you have all these Rafu Dharma protectors or Rafu deities, but they are not exactly Rafu. Their function is actually they are compassionate. Because they are compassionate to the greater good, they have to do a certain role, which is to destroy the most evil of spirits that cannot be turned. Most of these good guys, they will want to help the bad guys turn over a new leaf, right? But if the bad guys, there are bad guys that refuse to turn over a new leaf and is continue to be destructive, then out of compassion for greater harmony, for the greater good, it's like they have to destroy one to save the rest of the world. Then there are some of those who are the good guys who will do it. All right, so thank you, Stanley, for the question. The only thing is, um, there are some Rafu deities under Tibetan which are very obscure. If they are very obscure, not very well known, and disputed, that means some Tibetan sects say it's good, some Tibetans say it's bad, uh, because it's not famous, or they have heard stories that this, so one school claim is good, but others they heard that this one is bad. Actually, it's more likely to be bad. All right, I've encountered this. So some schools, because they pray and those they end up like this. They are very clever. They pretend to be good and they serve a certain group of people. Right? There's certain group of people benefit, but other people suffer. So when other people suffer, they know that this one is actually evil. It's actually bad, and then they will have records that this one is actually bad, but this one is serving this group of people. If they're serving this group of people, of course, this group of people will say that it's good. Just that they didn't know that this evil spirit is harming other people while benefiting them. Okay, so there are some so-called Rafu deities or obscure deities, Buddhas or whatever, whether it's Tibetan or any religion. There are some of these that are not clear. So for us, if you are empath, if you can feel the heart, you can actually know. So even that empath, if you feel the Dharma protector, you can feel the compassion. They don't want to destroy the bad guys, the evil spirits, but out of compassion for the greater good, the greater, the rest of the world, they have to do it. You can feel the compassion. Evan asked, is it all right to engage medium to contact the deceased? The first question is, do you know the good medium? There are many mediums that are fakes. There are many mediums who don't even know this thing. All right, what I'm presenting to you, you all may know better than the mediums. Some mediums don't know how to distinguish, and some mediums, they rely on appearances. I've seen all kinds, and I train mediums. All right, so of course, those people who are doing infinity, they learn way more than this. This talk is just for lay people. All right, we have more advanced techniques and everything to tell, but this is for lay people. Okay, so those of you who are in learning infinity, right? You have more tools and methods to do this. So Coral is sharing, when I did my first ketamine treatment last year, it was my first time that I ever experienced an energy of light. I was struggling with depression and anxiety. I couldn't see the person, but I felt her and she felt so loving. And I felt her warmth and literal light, like I was on the beach. She kept telling me, you are light, you are light. It's okay, you are light. This was an ongoing theme during my treatment, seeing light and being of light. It wasn't until I started taking your classes and talking to Tisha that I started to understand. It's still been a process. When I tried to meditate the other day, I had a very hard time, and this warm light came back to me and said, it's okay, as if to acknowledge my hard work and that my efforts were being seen. I don't know, just wanted to share. I was very moved. Thank you, Coral, for sharing. That was very lovely. It sounds like, it's a good spirit, right? Everything is there. It doesn't want anything from you, and it's just reassuring you. All right, usually it's very likely to be a good one. Very likely, but it can be something that's going for the long haul. But if you really can feel it, you need to know whether you're an empath. Usually, if you're an empath or you can feel the intentions, that is the most reliable. And Evan's asking, can we know from astrological chart cast during the encounter of spirit to determine whether the spirit is good or evil? No. There's no way you can determine from astrological chart. The astrologers will beg to differ because they will say everything can be predicted by astrology, but I beg to differ. All right, because okay, most homes at any one time have more than 100 souls, 100 spirits. Most homes, because there are many of these big ghosts and they're hiding everywhere, and most people cannot see them, and of course they cannot make contact. All right, but if you can make contact, right, and they can be more than one of these, or there will be more than one of these. All right, so how do you know? How does the astrologer know? Because the astrologer cannot count. There can be tens of spirits that can make contact, because in a home there's easily 100 and there'll be tens that can make contact usually. It tens, that means, let's say that there's 10 and there can be at least 5 that are good and maybe 5 that are evil, right? And you wouldn't know. It's very difficult for the astrologer to tell, okay? And Stefan is saying, you can ask the spirit for something and then it quickly came true without any other effort, but then lost it quickly. This kind of spirit tend to be evil. Okay, that's a very good question. It's very hard to qualify, because losing. Okay, let's say you ask the spirit for love, and then you get love, and then you quickly lost love because the other guy, the guy broke up with you. But it could be your fault, it could be the guy's fault, it may not necessarily be the spirit's fault. You get what I mean? So it's very hard to say. And which you reminded me now. A lot of people say this. You can actually ask the spirit, are they good or evil? Good, bad, evil, or good, bad, or harmless. There's no such thing. If the spirit is bad or evil, do you think it will admit to you that it's bad or evil? No, right? Who's so stupid? And some people will say, they'll try to do, they'll say, I compel you in the name of God, in the name of blah, blah, blah. I demand that you tell me the truth. If the spirit is powerful enough, it's just going to ignore it. All right, you can't compel. And Edwin made a very good point. All right, good spirit won't give you 4D numbers. Yes. All right, if they start to give you money, right? Like I said, if they start to give you money, give you numbers. You guys know 4D, like lottery numbers or what to buy and all that. They are definitely under this bad, evil. Because if they give you money, look, if they give you money, if they give you easy money, typically they end up making you a lazy person or a greedy person, right? So the good spirits don't want to make you lazy or don't want to make you greedy. They just want to make you help other people. And you may say, oh yeah, you give me money so that I can donate 10% to others. But if you're donating 10% to others, then you are greedy yourself. Then why would they want to give you? Unless they give you lottery and you're giving away 100%. Then maybe they will kind of help you with the richest thing. But normally no. Okay, the good guys don't give you instant riches and all that. Normally, very very rare. I've met so many people. I've only encountered one case because that person is supposed to become a philanthropist. It's supposed to become a person who takes care of temples, donate money to temples, and that person was allowed to be rich. And that was I've only encountered one person, and that person is really a nice person. Happened to be a Buddhist, and she had many opportunities whereby the temples are failing, and then they need money, and then they go to her, and she will donate money to them, right, to keep the temple running. So she received money, and she knows the money doesn't go to her, but she get to, she live reasonably comfortable life, but she know the money doesn't go to her. So Coral said, I will happily receive all the monies from anyone, please. All right, don't be greedy. And Xiaofang is asking, but good spirits will help you to attract some working opportunities, but still need own hard working to make opportunity in the money. Yes, as good spirits can attract opportunities to you, and whether or not you earn money, you will depend on your own hard work and your own efforts. Okay. So with that, I think I've wrapped up what I wanted to share with you all. Do you have any other last minute questions before we end this session? I shall assume there are none. So thank you for joining me. And if you feel you've benefited, please do consider making a donation to contribute to us. How to contribute will be in the groups. For Facebook group, it will be under the announcement session. Help keep our online sessions going. If you're interested in light meditation, yes, one of the ways to tell whether it's a true light is you can learn to experience the true light, right? The real light that's from heaven, and we have the meditation tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Sunday, Malaysia time. Oh, Coral, you have a question? Yes. Xiaofang says, so better trust heart feeling. If feel not comfortable, be cautious right away. Yes, Xiaofang. Coral says, what's the benefit of an evil spirit to try to get a person attached to try to take their own life? Oh, it's very simple. If the evil spirits are always trying to get people to take their own life or to kill other people, because when people take their own life, they automatically become a ghost. They don't become a light spirit, right? Because when you take your own life, you're normally very unhappy. You have not let go. You are very depressed, and normally the evil spirits have surrounded the person so that when they die, they cannot go to the light. They try to block the spirit from going to light. So, and when they manage to do that, they will try to make you kill yourself, or try to make you to kill other people. And when other people die a traumatic death, or they die a death whereby they're full of anger and sadness, and they feel that they cannot leave behind their families, there's a very high chance they become a ghost instead of become a light spirit. And usually they can tell that if you become a ghost, you are a weak ghost, right? Then you're not more powerful than them. And what they're going to do is they're going to bring you to hell. They're going to torture you so that you will scream in anger and fear, and they will take more of your energies, make you weaker and weaker, all those kind of things. So they actually want you to die and join them, but join them not as their superior, join them as their servants or something like that. So, but then what is energy trying to consume? Oh, I see, they're blocking you from getting the light. Yes. So China, someone said in China recently, many people take their own life due to cyberbullying. In this case, they end up as ghosts. Most likely, typically people who take their own lives, they're so depressed that they cannot see the light when they die, and they're so self-absorbed in their suffering that I would say at the moment of death, 99% of them will become ghosts. And the only way they can become a spirit of light is when the family does the funeral wake with the right people who do the right prayers to send them back to light. And sadly, this type of skill is kind of lost. But if you belong to church, if you have a church, nice enough, big enough church group to pray for you, is normally okay. If you're Buddhist and you get enough people to come and chant Nam or Ami Tofo for you, is also generally more lucky. But if you go to a commercial company, nowadays a lot of these funerals are being handled by commercial companies, and they don't have real spiritual background. They just hire any Tom, Dick, and Harry, or they get one of the guys to wear the monk robes, shave their head, and pretend to chant, but don't have the spiritual cultivation and knowledge. Then the spirit don't get to go to light after they become a ghost. So normally they only get two chances: at the moment when you die, and during the last rites during the funeral or ceremony. Xiaofang asked, as their slaves, yes, they want people to die so that the ghosts become the slaves of the more powerful evil spirits. Coral asked, Kat, is it possible for someone who's taken the life to still be able to go to light? Yes, like if um, you get the people to send them off to light, or if you know me, you contact me. I charge a very small fee for that only. You don't, it's very small fee. If you're in Malaysia, it's only 50 ringgit, all right? As of 2023, okay? If you're in Malaysia, it's only 50 ringgit. That's how cheap to send one lost soul to light. It's very easy. Edwin say Chan Nam Yo Heirun Gekyo also cannot. That one cannot, for sure cannot. Coral asked, that is so concerning. I don't think that was the case for a friend who took his life 2 years ago. The funeral service had very bad energy, and my best friend, a girlfriend to the boy who took his life, is constantly contacting his spirit. I don't know if he is of light or if it is really him. Now, if it's really him, right? If it's a light spirit, it can stay typically no more than 100 days, or according to the culture. If after a few years, you said 2 years ago and still contacting, then it cannot be a spirit of light, it will be a ghost, it will be a lost soul, and you'll come under deceased ghosts, and they are bad for you even if they are not evil. All right, so yeah. All right, so with that, I believe I've answered everyone's questions. Thank you for joining me. I hope to see you again next month or tomorrow for our classes. Someone's interested in detachment or non-attachment. Right, see you another time. Have a good day, good night, and goodbye. Thank you.